All right, Rick, now we're looking at the SeaArk 2072 FX Deluxe, and man, what can I say? This boat is huge.
It is big, Dave. I can tell you how big it is. We've talked a lot about the aluminum boats and how they really don't have a place offshore at all. I bet you $1 you wouldn't be the first person to put a kingfish in one of these.
Oh, I'd do it in a heartbeat. This boat's got a 15-degree dead rise, so it really rides as close as you're going to get to a fiberglass boat ride, but yet it's kept all of the good benefits of aluminum.
Yep, it sure is. It's one piece, it's easy to clean. I like the non-skid deck a lot. It's not the kind that holds stains. It's actually the liner, similar to, like you said, a truck liner earlier.
A lot of the aluminum boats, their heritage goes back to hunting and fishing. So they even have a little piece that fits into this extruded rail to put sticks if you want to make a duck blind out of it, bimini top, whatever. It just shows what SeaArk has done to make this boat very, very versatile.
You're right, but make no mistake about it, it's a serious fishing boat, Dave. 2 live wells, including a 40-gallon one in the back. That's going to keep nice fish alive for a tournament way in a long time.
All right, Rick, one thing you're going to love, especially coming from your area of the state, they've reinforced the keel of this boat to take the abuse of the oyster beds.
You've been watching me drive a boat again, haven't you? Well, it's like we said, Dave, all this started in Alaska, where they went to aluminum boats because they're always bouncing them off the rocks. Well, what's the difference between rocks and an oyster bed? Nothing.
Well, to make the transition from the freshwater market or for the hunting market into a serious saltwater boat, it looks like SeaArk has taken all of this consideration and come up with a dynamite platform.
Well, they have, and there's an awful lot of room in this boat. Remember, we talked about some of the boats earlier being good for 1, 2, 3 people. You can take 4 or 5 people in this boat very comfortably.
Oh, easily. The capacity plate actually says 10, and they make this in a side configuration, a side console, where you can put a lot more people in it. But you know what? Realistically, 4 or 5 guys, plenty of room for all your tackle. No one's in each other's way. You've got plenty of capacity for your live bait. It's also got the largest power of the 3 boats that we brought today. It's got a 150. I honestly don't think it needs it. I ran this boat today. She's fast, eats up a chop like nobody's business. I think you could get by with a smaller motor, but she handles the 150 no problem. Very stable at wide open throttle.
How does she compare draft-wise? Did you put it up in shallow water?
We need about 12 inches of water to float this boat. But you know what? That's right in there with any bay boat.
That's in there with any bay boat, okay? Manufacturers can say what they want. That's about what most of them draw. You're exactly right. Dave, there's a lot to like about this boat. Let's look at some of the features.
Rick, you know, we've talked about how large this SeaArk is, but look at the size of this forward casting deck. It's huge.
Oh, you can do 2, 3 people up here, no problem, Dave. Especially if you pop this seat out. Once again, you want to load up some water skiers, you want to load up the whole family, take the seat out. You want a comfortable place to sit, put it back in.
You've got a large area up here, not only to land your trolling motor, but you can actually stand up there and fish. A lot of storage up here in the bow. As you work your way aft, we've got the same anti-skid, it's just all solid colors, and you get to this diamond plate floor in here, looks like something you'd find in a big heavy-duty truck.
It does, it just speaks durable, doesn't it? It just talks about how rough and tough the boat is. Every weld in this boat is bigger than it has to be. The aluminum is bigger than it has to be. They're very proud of the fact that they overbuild this boat.
Well, I know today when I ran it, we ran through some pretty rough stuff by the inlet, and she is solid. It doesn't rattle around, there's nothing loose.
Yeah, that means the hatches fit tight, Dave. Nothing bothers me more than to come off a wave and hear about 4 hatches pound. We had none of that with this boat today.
Well, no, because they make all their own hatches. All these hatches are aluminum, they're all welded, and they all fit exactly like they should.
And then lock in place.
Talking about a bay boat, you know, we've got the leaner seat. We've seen this in all 3 boats. One thing I love about this boat, a huge 40-gallon release well, live well combination, and it's divided. That way I can put my big fish on my side and your little fish on your side.
Oh, in your dreams. But what you can do is put your bait on one side and your fish to be released later on another side, which is nice.
Rick, as we make our way to the stern, one thing I noticed in the back of this boat, they've got the optional flotation pods. What I love about it, a little bit more displacement to carry the weight of the extra ponies on the back, but when you take off, they're not really like trim tabs, but they do help you get that nose over.
Oh, they do. And keep in mind now, you're going to have more planing surface. That also is going to give you a little more stable ride.
Well, we've got a power pole in the back of this boat. It's a great place to mount it. On this side, we've got a ladder. And you know what? I like to see ladders on the boats. Even if you're not going to dive or snorkel, it's a safety thing. If it's in wintertime and you're fully clothed and you go overboard, you better have an easy way to get back in the boat. That ladder could save your life.
Well, Dave, you're right. And let me tell you something. Remember we mentioned these higher sides? That's only trouble if you got to get back in. That ladder's not an option. That ladder's mandatory for my boat. Dave, this SeaArk 2072 was the biggest of the 3 boats we looked at today, but there were a lot of reasons for her size. She's actually designed to be a little bigger boat than the other ones are.
Well, if you're going to be using this boat in the saltwater environment, what she's built for, you're going to be crossing bigger bays, you're going to be making longer runs, especially if you're down in the Keys, you're going to run from Islamorada maybe over into Shark River. Having a boat with this much displacement and this size, a little bit extra horsepower on the back, may be the best boat.